Hello, please excuse the washing in the background. This isn't a rehearsed or well polished video. This is just me talking. And there is a commonly held belief that if you have a pipe and stick some tobacco in it and then stick that in your mouth and start talking, that constitutes a pipe video. And that's cool with me. So I'm not going to fly in the face of public opinion. I have a pipe, a Ben Wade, St George's Day, with some St James's flake in. I am smoking my pipe while having a little coffee. I am about to talk about anything, therefore this is a pipe smoking video. So, what about the weather, eh? It's been raining for about a week now, and this made me think about stories of floods. In all cultures there seems to be stories about great floods. It's in the Bible, it's in, I don't know if in the Jewish book, whether it's the Torah or the Talmud or something like that, there's the story of Noah's Ark and the flood. But I know that it's been discovered that the story actually predates those times, and going back to ancient Mesopotamia, the stories of Gilgamesh, which were deciphered when there was a British traveller, adventurer, wanted to get to Ceylon, and he stopped at Mesopotamia, saw these ancient mounds that people said were ancient cities, and did some excavation and found these tablets with what they call, is it cruciform writing, cuneiform writing, something like that. And he sent loads and loads of them, because there was tons of them, just been lying there for years. I mean, people talk about colonialism. Oh, hang on, back off, politics. But people do say colonialism always equals bad, but I mean, he sent these back. It's not really colonialism, that is it? What would they criticise that as? World antiquities being stolen by the British Museum. I guess it falls into that category. You know, we better be correct, because we'll be pulled up if we don't. So people go on about antiquities being stolen from other countries, but bear in mind, these tablets have just been lying around for literally thousands of years, and nobody doing anything with them. I think, weren't some of the Dead Sea Scrolls just burnt or something, used as fuel? So it's not who has them, it's who looks after them. It's who actually takes them and uses the information, perhaps. There's a talking point for another day. So this British guy sends all these tablets to the British Museum, and they end up having thousands of them, but nobody can decipher them. And then this chap, and I forget his name, it's quite a common sounding name, in the 1800s actually deciphers them. And as he's reading some of the stories of Gilgamesh, as he's translating them into English, he realises that there's talk there of the biblical flood that you read about in the Bible, but obviously with different characters. And he has what sounds like an epileptic fit when he hears about it, and it causes a big stir in the church as well. But the story goes along that Gilgamesh, the hero of the story, and this is when we talk about the oldest recorded story known in humanity, Gilgamesh, the hero, is confronted with his own mortality when his friend dies, and he realises he'll die, and he knows that he has an ancestor a relative who used to be a king who's still alive thousands of years later. So he goes in search of this ancient ancestor who's achieved immortality and asks him if he can be immortal. And his ancestor tells him that the gods have granted him immortality because he was the only person to survive the Great Flood, or him and his wife are the only people to survive the Great Flood, so they were granted immortality. What was his name? Utana Pishtin. I'll check it out. Utana Pishtin, I think, was the original Noah. And he said, you won't obtain immortality because it was a unique situation, and the gods dealt with it in a unique way because it was unique. So Gilgamesh isn't very happy. But Utnapishtim tells him that he can take a herb which will rejuvenate him. So even though he won't live forever, he'll always be young. And he takes a herb, but he doesn't want to try it because he's frightened in case it won't work. And when he falls asleep, a snake comes and eats it. And as soon as the snake eats it, it loses its skin and becomes rejuvenated. And that's, I suppose, comes from the legend of why do snakes lose their skin. People says, oh, they're rejuvenating because they found the herb that rejuvenates them. You know, it's how these folk tales come about. So yeah, it's sort of deciphering this writing, which is thousands of years old, predating anything else that's written down, you know, making Egyptian hieroglyphics look young. Deciphering this writing suddenly opens up this early form of Noah's Ark. So I was thinking about that because I've been thinking about other things just lately, and I wanted to get away from the sort of comments and things that's been going around on YouTube. And if you're anything like me and your wife or husband or partner likes to watch dramas and soaps which don't really interest you, and you like to watch things which are educational and informative and things like that, which doesn't really sort of get their attention, then what I was watching, excuse me, I'll just pause this a sec. Sorry about that. Obviously this is unscripted, and I always start out with a video having some rough idea of what I want to say, but there's always a danger I might just waffle on and finish the video completely missing what I started out wanting to say. So what I'm saying is, while I was thinking about this, I decided to have a little look on YouTube at something a bit different and look into this, you know, early version of Noah's Ark and Gilgamesh and the legends and things like that. And I came across a video, and it's one of the most entertaining things I've seen on a television, because I watch YouTube through the television sometimes. One of the most entertaining things I've seen for a long time, perhaps the best thing I've seen this year. And it's a talk by a man called Irving Finkel. I'm reading it off the screen just now, Irving Finkel. I'll leave a link to the video below, and it's about, it's nearly an hour long, but it's very engaging. You'll enjoy every minute of it. It's, at least I think you will. Knowing most of the YouTube pipe smoking community, most of you intelligent people, deep thinkers, interesting, and this is the sort of thing. It's entertaining, interesting, with a bit of humour. Well, quite a bit of humour thrown in. Irving Finkel is a creator curator at the British Museum, and he's doing a talk at the Oriental Institute in, I think it's Chicago. I think I saw it said it. But the talk's called "The Ark Before Noah," which is the same title as a book that he's written, and it's how he got the opportunity to decipher a new tablet which was brought to him, and it gives the story. He realised it was a flood story as soon as he read the first few lines, and it's it brings new evidence to the flood story, and in it tells how the gods had decided that they were going to destroy mankind, and one of the gods decides this isn't a good idea, and goes to this person and tells this person, who I guess is the who's later referred to as Utanapishtim, that he needs to build a boat and get all the animals that they knew on the boat, and it even describes the measurements and everything of the boat, and it turns out it's a conical boat, not like the images we have from pictures we've seen in Bibles and things like that. But it's absolutely fascinating and funny and interesting. In the end, they actually build a replica of this boat and sail it, and it is really good. It's I'm sure after I finish this film, I'll remember something that I want to tell you that I wish I'd have put in. But the best thing I can say is watch it, because I think you'll enjoy it. I'm just going to pause a second, make sure there isn't something that I wanted to tell you that I forgot. Yeah, I think just to add to that, what I really like about this is that it's a subject. It's away from a lot of the issues of modern day life and a lot of the modern day issues that we're having, different divisions and stuff within our community and the world, because we're looking back. It's looking back at something thousands of years ago, which means there's nothing there that should be offensive to anybody who's watching this. There's no politics or anything. It's just really interesting. Although some people can take offence at anything, they can even say that pipe smoking imagery is somehow invokes some colonial imagery or some ridiculous nonsense like that. So God knows, somebody can find offence in even this, I should think. But it's no, this is really entertaining, and the man is so entertaining. Sometimes the questions come up: who would you like to share a pipe with and have a chat with if you could pick anybody in history or whatever? And I thought, as I was watching this programme, I've no idea if this guy smokes a pipe. He probably doesn't, although he does have a big beard, which suggests that he might. And I thought I would just love to sit across the room, have a coffee and a chat with this guy, and I could happily talk to him for a long time. And I think just watch this and you'll enjoy it. So it's Irving Finkel, The Ark Before Noah, a great adventure. But I'll put a link in the description, and I hope you enjoy it. And what better thing to do on a rainy day than watch something that's really interesting.